1. Hey Rob.
Yes, Mr. President, sir.
I've never really told you the story of my life, and you've been my driver for a long time.
I haven't heard it, Mr. President, sir.
Well, I feel as if I should do so right now.
I'd love to hear it, sir.
Okay, well here we go. I was born on May 29th, 1917, and had 8 brothers and sisters. I was really not a healthy baby. I had whooping cough, measles, and chickenpox at 3 years old, and I had scarlet fever and was in the hospital for a month. My dad was a very successful businessman. As a kid, I was on the Dexter School football team, and in the summer, I would go to my Cape Cod beach house and sail and swim. I graduated from high school and entered Harvard. But unfortunately, one day in college, as I was playing football, I had ruptured my spine. I've still never recovered from it to this day. I graduated from Harvard in June 1940. After graduating, I joined the Navy and made lieutenant and was assigned to the South Pacific as a commander of the torpedo boat. I had a crew of 12 people, and one day while we were out on the South Pacific, we hit a Japanese destroyer. Unfortunately, I lost 2 great soldiers, and 2 others suffered severe burns. In 1952, I was elected into the U.S. Senate. Soon after being elected as senator, I married my wife, Jackie Kennedy. People said in 1956 that I should run for vice president, but I knew that the next election I would run for president in 1960. At age 43, I was the youngest president ever. On January 20th, 1961, I was elected the 35th president. By the time I was president, I had 2 kids. I also feel that I have had some great accomplishments into my career up to this day. Probably had a decent amount of them. The first one is becoming the first Catholic president. I have also urged public service and came up with this quote, "Ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country." You've probably heard it before. I also started the Peace Corps, which sent young Americans to make peace with other countries. Some historical events that have happened during my presidency were the Bay of Pigs, the failed attempt to overthrow Castro in Cuba, which was the Cuban Missile Crisis, the USSR's attempt to supply Cuba with nuclear missiles, and the disaster that was narrowly averted. I escalated the U.S. military presence in Vietnam, made the Ich bin Laden speech in Berlin. I made a vigorous effort to catch up with the Soviet Union space system. I also refused to keep my yearly salary of $100,000, so I donated to charities. And so, there you have it. That's the story of my life.
You have definitely gone through many experiences, sir.
Yes, I know. It's been fun, though, being a president.
I bet. I wish I got to be president. Maybe I'll run after your term, sir.
That would be nice.
Nice day out, isn't it?
Yeah.
How's your wife, sir?
What seems to be the holdup here? I see we're stopped at a red light.